I'm Lexxie. I'm in the US. Today we're going to take a look at an American classic that I've never had before.
So, first oops of this video. Just like in the last one, I was filming this at like 2 in the morning. And that handy dandy spotlight was less than handy dandy. So, what have we learned? Don't use the spotlight when the kitchen is relatively dark. So, for this video, again, we can see most of the important stuff. And I didn't want you to miss out on the video. So, we'll make do. You'll forgive me, right?
And I'm talking about fried green tomatoes. So there's some differences of opinion here because fried green tomatoes are heavily associated with Southern cooking. But there's evidence that they actually originated in Pennsylvania sometime around, I do not remember because I am not good at research and facts. But I will put that information, trying to think of which way this works. I don't know if it's that way or if it's that way, or it might be that way. But I will put what year they seem to date back to on the screen. But the real important part is how to make them and what they taste like, right? So I've got 3 green tomatoes here. Fresh out of my garden. It can be a little hard to find green tomatoes in the store. And I'm just going to cut these around 1/4 inch thick. Should I do all 3? I don't know if I'm going to like them. Well, what's the worst that happens, right? They're already picked. All right. And then I've got some dredging stations here. Oh, no, I almost forgot. I got a salt and pepper, don't I? Gotta season our food. Let me grab the salt and pepper. Now, you could salt the flour, but salt and pepper the flour. But I tend to like to salt and pepper or whatever herbs and spices I'm using on a given dish, the food itself, because it keeps the spices from burning when they're in the pan, and you want that flavor to get into the food, not to just sit in the breading. For as thin as these are, I'm going to say one side is plenty. And what we're going to do is just give them a dip in the flour. That's just regular flour. And this is a 1 beaten egg with just a little bit of water so that it flows nicer. And I have never been good at the one wet hand, one dry hand thing. And this last one is cornmeal. And I suppose we need to be sure to get the edges too, huh? If you live in a country where it's harder to get cornmeal, because I know some countries you just can't get it, you should be able to use like a long cook polenta for this recipe. And I've actually got a whole episode planned on cornmeal. So keep that in mind for later. While I'm doing this, I've got, maybe I didn't get enough cornmeal. I've got a pan heating on the stove with some oil in it. Just enough oil to cover it with like 1/4 inch. We're going to pan fry these. But I'm going to get the rest of these dredged. And then pan fry them in the hot oil. Just a minute or 2 on one side, flip them over, a minute or 2 on the other side, so that they're golden brown and delicious. And I will be back here to try them with you and let you know what I think as soon as they're done. And I am now realizing that I cannot turn the camera off with egg dredgy hands. We shall make do, shan't we? But I will see you in just a minute. So I'm realizing in my infinite wisdom I didn't turn on the overhead camera for any of that. But I haven't finished yet, so you can still see what I have going on. These were the tomatoes that I sliced. You know what it looks like to slice a tomato. I seasoned them. I've got my flour here. Oh, that was 2. I've got my flour here. I've got my egg dredge. And I've got my cornmeal, which I am quickly running low on. But you get the idea, right? I don't need to go get more tomatoes and redo this whole thing, right? You're good? Okay, we're good. That probably was real nice looking. I will see you in a minute once these are cooked. Okay, I've got the tomatoes out of the oil, and I checked both cameras to make sure they're on. It just wouldn't be a day if I didn't make at least one mistake, right? These look beautiful, golden brown and delicious. I was afraid that I was undercooking them because I don't fry a lot. Let's give them a try. Okay. They need a dip. What do you usually dip these in? Hang on. This is some of that cottage cheese ranch. If I can get it open. There we go. That I made, well, it's not the batch that I made in the stuff to do with cottage cheese video, but it's the same kind of ranch. That way I can have ranch and not double dip in my container. Okay, that's good. That's where it's at. These are nice. I'm not certain I'd go out of my way for them, but I do like them. Sorry, they're still pretty hot. I do like them, and they are most definitely something to do with green tomatoes, especially at the end of the season when they're just not going to ripen and you need something to do with them. Or in the beginning of the season when you're drowning in tomatoes and you need something to do with all of the tomatoes. Eat a few of them this way. But am I gonna pay $12.99 in a restaurant for these as an appetizer? Probably not. I'm very glad I tried them because they're an American classic that is long overdue for me tasting. And I think you should try them too. Because who knows, they could be your new favorite food. You don't know that you're missing something amazing unless you try everything. But that's all I've got for today. So if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!